Welcome back to The Lead. I'm Jake Tapper. Returning to our national lead now. The president says he is not budging.
I will not negotiate on anything when it comes to the full faith and credit of the United States of America.
But the House, well, they're not rolling over either.
Now, the president says, I'm not going to negotiate. Well, I'm sorry, but it just doesn't work that way.
Congresswoman Cathy McMorris Rodgers of Washington State, the House Republican Conference Chair, joins me now. Congresswoman, thanks for being here. You heard Dan Pfeiffer, the president's senior advisor, just then talking about how he sees these negotiations. He said that when it comes to the debt ceiling, which of course is a different crisis than the government shutdown, the debt ceiling things, you and your colleagues are presenting a laundry list of ransom demands that Romney supported and voters rejected. They include, in addition to the one-year delay of Obamacare, blocking net neutrality regulations, approval of the Keystone Pipeline, blocking the EPA from regulating ash waste from coal-fired power plants. None of this has any obvious connection with the national debt. Why use something so critical for leverage on these issues that you can't get support for in the Senate?
Well, first of all, it's completely unrealistic for the president to say that we're not going to negotiate over the debt ceiling, that he thinks somehow that we should be just giving him another blank check to continue these record deficits. He's had trillion-dollar deficits every year, and what we are putting forward, we are proposing reforms that include spending cuts, spending reductions, as well as pro-growth policies that will get our economy growing again. And just today, actually, the Joint Economic Committee came forth with a report that showed some of the proposals that we are considering putting into this package: tax reform, the one-year delay of Obamacare, Keystone, which is 20,000 jobs in and of itself, would help get our economy growing, get people back to work, and ultimately would help us pay down the debt because of the revenue that it would increase to the federal government.
Well, that's not directly related to the debt per se in terms of spending, but I understand your point about growth. Why do you call this President Obama's debt? Congress is the one that spends the money.
It is President Obama over the last 5 years that has been adding these trillion-dollar deficits every year to our debt, and it needs to stop. And the Republicans are going to insist, before there's any increase in the debt ceiling, that it be accompanied with the spending cuts, with the reforms. They're going to help change that trajectory so that we don't continue down this path. And look at history. You look at President Clinton, President Reagan, you look at President Bush. The debt ceiling has often been used as that opportunity for Republicans and Democrats, White House and Congress, to negotiate the way forward and to work to bring down the debt that we have accumulated in this country.
Well, you guys are the ones who passed the appropriations bills. You guys are the ones who just voted for more of those farm subsidies going to rich farmers.
We just passed reforms to the Farm Bill. We have unfortunately, the Senate has been not passing a budget. This was the fourth year in a row that the Senate hadn't even passed a budget. It's been a big frustration of ours. They've passed 0 appropriations bills. We started out this year, it was the Republicans who led the effort for no budget, no pay, as a leverage to get the Senate to actually write a budget. We've been so frustrated because that is very fundamental to governing, that you get a budget in place. And to your point, the federal government is basically, much of it is running on autopilot. The spending continues without that budget. And so that's why these negotiations that we're having right now, it's so important that we negotiate over raising the debt ceiling.
Let's just game. We only have a couple minutes left. I just want to ask you, if the Senate sends back the House bill without the defunding of Obamacare, and Speaker Boehner puts that forward because he doesn't want to shut down the government, and he says, we'll try to negotiate when it comes to the debt ceiling in a few weeks instead of with this government shutdown. Will you defy him, or will you go along with that?
Well, we're going to continue to push the Senate to have this debate over the funding of Obamacare, a delay of Obamacare. It is very important. The American people want that. We saw the polling just today that 57% of the American people would like to see this law either repealed or delayed. They see that it's having a negative impact on their lives. And so we're going to continue to push the Senate to have this debate, because premiums, I just heard Dan say that premiums were coming down. The president promised that premiums were going to come down $2,500. They're going up $7,500. And people were told that if you had a health insurance plan that you liked or a doctor that you liked, you'd be able to keep it. It's not true. And I was home earlier this week. People are panicked as they see how this law is being implemented. So we're going to continue to push the Senate to have this debate.
One last thing, Congresswoman. Here's Senator John McCain. Here's what he said about tying Obamacare funding to the budget.
I campaigned all over America for 2 months, everywhere I could, and in every single campaign rally, I said, and we have to repeal and replace Obamacare. Well, the people spoke.
The people spoke, so did the Supreme Court. Why are you still pushing this?
Well, because the people continue to speak, and we need to listen to the American people, and the American people want to see this law. They want to see us delay. They want to see us repeal parts of this law. And even President Obama has said that it's unworkable. We saw in early July that he delayed the employer mandate. We saw today where President Obama announced that they were going to delay the online exchange for small businesses where they could enroll because it's not ready. This law isn't ready for prime time. We need to get it delayed. We need to continue the debate over how we ensure that Americans have access to quality and affordable health care. But it's not this law.
Are we going to have a government shutdown next week?
The Republicans do not want to see the government shut down. And we took action in the House. I'm proud of the fact that we have passed a bill that would keep the government open. There's 2 bodies in Congress for a reason, and we're waiting for the Senate to act.
All right. Congresswoman Cathy McMorris Rodgers, thanks so much for talking to us. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Jake.